Welcome to Collecting Consciousness, where we aim to capture the ever-expanding and evolving conscious creations that originate from the minds of fellow podcasters, strangers, dear friends, and loved ones.
In this podcast, we will expand on our inner wisdom and a coming home to self. From our conscious minds to yours, we welcome you to the Collecting Consciousness.
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Collecting Consciousness. And we are, as usual, going to get started with a little bit of breath work and a beautiful prayer from Courtney after to set the space. So wherever you're at, if it is available to you, I invite you to begin to settle. Maybe you're sitting, maybe you're lying down. As we begin to settle our bodies, I invite you, if it's available to you, to close your eyes gently. As we do this, we bring our gaze and our attention inward. And as we bring our attention inward, we start to take notice of our breath and our body. Noticing how deep you're breathing, how fast you're breathing. Maybe feeling into any tensions or discomforts that you have in your body. And using this time to just take an inventory without judgment, without trying to change it. Just taking inventory. I want to invite you on the count of 3 to exhale completely. 1, 2, 3. Exhaling all the way out, allowing all of the breath to leave your body and empty, taking us deeper into our cores, into our centers. Pausing at the bottom for 1, 2, inhaling deeply, allowing the breath to fill the body, not rushing it, not forcing it. Pausing at the top for 1, 2. And then exhaling completely again, allowing the body to empty all the way. Allowing ourselves to feel deeply into our centers, into our core. And then pausing at the bottom for 1, 2. Inhaling, taking a nice deep breath, allowing that prana, that life force energy to just fill your body gently and with ease. When you get to the top of that breath, pausing for 1, 2, exhaling. Maybe you allow a little sigh out this time with the exhale. Allowing the belly to completely sink in as the breath empties completely. Pausing at the bottom for 1, 2, maybe staying a moment longer. And then returning to our natural breath. So allowing the breath to find its way back into the body on its own natural pace, rhythm, and depth. As we allow this breath to breathe us and provide us with life force energy, I invite Courtney to fill our minds and the space with an intentional prayer.
Thank you, Bethany. Where's your mind Where are your thoughts? What are the stories running through the mind on your daily way of living? Can you see potential loop after loop? Story after story, assumption after assumption. Can you pause? Just like the breath work that Bethany gave us, a simple tool to settle the mind, to settle the stories, to settle the assumptions, and to see yourself for where you are, in hopes, with no judgment. If there is judgment, that's okay. Get back up. Pause and hold space. The mind is a funny tool. It's a beautiful tool. Tapping in with awareness allows us to see the full spectrum. So let us hold space for wherever we are on our journey. Can we trust the timing of life? All we have is the present moment. So let us be in the present mind, the present body, perhaps with aches and pains, perhaps with ease, allowing yourself for wherever you are, paying attention to the intuitive notes that flow through our body that show us indicators of how we can show up. Let us thank our ancestors. Let us thank our guides. Let us thank ourselves, wherever you are on your gratitude, whoever you feel gratitude towards. Honor them. Honor self. Honor being. Honor others. Continuing with our breath work, breathing in and breathing out, allowing the breath to breathe us. Let us come back to the present space of this podcast. Let us set an intention for our day. Allow whatever intuition comes to the mind to be the intention. Trust. From our conscious minds to yours, we welcome you to Collecting Consciousness. Another dive, another episode, episode 19. Today we are on the third agreement. That agreement is: do not make assumptions. So let us dive into it. Take your time coming back. Blink your eyes open. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your feet. Place your hand on your heart. Whatever feels right to you. And let us see where the wisdom takes us. Let us hold space for whatever is to come. Once again, I'm Courtney. That's Bethany. And we are grateful and appreciative to be here and to share. So welcome back.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back. That was great.
Yeah, I like the breath work of let the breath breathe you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That we're not in control.
Right. Yeah.
Letting things just flow as they are, because sometimes that can be hard. trying to control outcomes and all that shit and lessons.
If we can just let the breath be our first teacher, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, Al would like that.
Surrender.
Al Bailey.
Yeah. Al dropped.
Shout out to Al. Al was on
haven't seen that episode.
Yeah.
We'll link
Go
it
back
at the top. And if you're watching the YouTube.
Yeah. That's right. Bethany learned some new tricks of how to link things on the video. That's fun.
Yeah, we'll have to start including the show notes of the Spotify too, because then people can access it,
What's that mean? What do you
like maybe I'll link it in like if we mention any videos, I'll link or any previous episodes, I'll link it in the Spotify show notes.
Oh, okay, cool. Because people are Spotify viewers. Yeah, for sure. I got that.
I got all hooked up.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So
you gonna dive in?
Yeah, I've got a really unruly puppy dog, so we'll just hope that he's gonna behave because he's creating a ruckus out there right now. I'm just trying to ignore him.
Full moon energy. He's being his authentic self, the Aquarius.
Yes. So guys, we're back and we're gonna dive into the third agreement. So don't make assumptions, which I love how that was in the prayer. And the intention, and I love how you mentioned that the stories ourselves are the assumptions.
The assumptions, honestly, like when I was listening to it, I was like, oh man, this just like it just makes me think of attachment theory. It just makes me think of like communication where we're not showing, because it's all about communication and it's all about these stories, these loops that are creating our assumptions. So I was like, oh, this is all very layered.
It is, and it does show up in so many ways. And I think that, so one thing he says is that the fear of clarifying something, like asking a question, somewhere you created that agreement or belief that you're not supposed to ask questions. You're supposed to just let it be whatever that person is being, doing, says. Like, if you're not sure about it, you should further ask questions for clarification. But we're told, and as little kids, don't ask questions, think about that, reprimand, don't ask questions. It's the way it is.
Also, just people think questions are stupid. They don't want to look stupid. So there's probably a story right there. Don't telling people, don't waste our time.
Yeah.
Because where did that story come from? That totally is something from the childhood that was no, you're a bother if you ask. So it's okay, let's try and dive into where that resides in your story, in your own personal journey.
Yeah. So if you are somebody listening and you're like, wow, I really do struggle with asking questions and I feel it makes me nervous, or I feel like I'm bothering people, just check in with that, because that in itself is an agreement that was created in your domestication, years of being young, most likely. So just check in with that. Check in with, where did that come from? And I love the motto, be curious. I'm curious. I'm always asking questions.
Yeah, you are.
I'm an annoying, grown child. Jonah always says that when we're doing house projects or we're working on something. He's just not now. Don't ask the question now, because I've always got questions. I'm always
I feel I'm very curious. So I'm got that very curious mind, always thinking about what to ask. So I feel you on that. Do you have Gemini in your chart? Because I was just I do. So it's that's where my mind goes with curiosity.
I know I do somewhere, but I don't know where, what house, planet, or whatever, I know I do somewhere. But yeah, I felt like this, this agreement was really, I don't want to say short and sweet, but it was just
it was,
really short and sweet to the point.
Yeah.
It perfectly wraps up the previous two. It really all builds, and it's so, we
create an assumption that we're taking personally.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's I forget. I do remember him tying it in with the impeccability, but I was
when you ask the question, when you ask the
Right.
question, you get clarification, then there's no room for a
Yes, yes,
lie.
yes.
There's no room
Yeah,
for the there not to be the truth about it. So like that makes you impeccable with your thoughts and your words when you
right.
clarify things, when you don't make assumptions. Like it just leads naturally to
Mhm.
impeccability with your word.
Yeah.
And I thought, what stuck out to me in this one too was like the way that this dynamic works with relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a really interesting thing that he mentioned about how, so like, say you're in a romantic relationship and you get married and you think that, oh, by getting married, like it's going to be this way and this way and this way. And you assume that
Yeah.
like this is how it's going to be. And then you get into marriage and it's not like that because like
Mm-hmm.
you didn't do the work to like, whatever, ask those questions, lay the foundation,
Mm-hmm.
set the expectations like clearly to somebody. So I thought that was really interesting to like think about that in the dynamics of relationships or, making assumptions that, like, say, even with a best friend, like that they know exactly what you want, when you want it, how you want it. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
just such a crazy expectation and assumption for us to have.
Right. And what stuck out with me in the book was just like the communication. And I think it ties in with that. It's like we just have to communicate effectively. We have to let people know of our needs, wants, desires. Can we, okay, so, finding that those people that are right for you, can you accept them as they are? Can they accept you as they are? So you have to communicate those things that you do want, that you don't want, because if you're clashing in any sort of way, you're not meant to be in that same energy. And it's like without communication, there is nothing, because there is all these assumptions that start getting created that they should just know exactly what I'm thinking. They know me, blah, 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 blah. And then you create these stories, and then you take things personally when they don't do the things that you want them to do. So it's just like I think the communication is really like the foundation, like you're saying, that foundation, communicate effectively. I mean, I'll just go into a little side digression. Casually dating, and mom's like, well, what if they want kids? And I don't want kids. And I was just like, well, that I have to let them know, like that's a upfront thing that I tell people,
Mhm.
because if they want kids, I don't want kids. That is literally two opposing forces that, and like this is the thing too. We think that they're gonna love me. They're not ready for a relationship right now. They just haven't met me. They just haven't. I'm gonna be the one to just change them. Nobody's gonna change unless they want to change, and that's Don was talking about that.
Yeah.
So really, like upfront and impeccable. I don't want kids. So that is like, okay, cool. Guess what? Bye. No harm. It's just communicating that we're not aligned, and that's okay. You're going to find the next person, the next person, whatever. You'll find those alignments, but it's like communicate for clarity, communicate so that you understand, creating those assumptions. Literally, actually, I'm going to go into another story, and it's completely different, but it's just going to go more into an assumption.
Yeah.
I met this person at this festival this summer, and I could tell that she was having a bit of a hard time, but there was still that slight part of me that internalized that and was like, oh, she was weirded out by me. I weirded her out, because there's still a part of me that is, that construct, being different, being who I am. I do still have a slight like, oh fuck, I weirded somebody out. Oh, it's me. Like, oh, I can be weird. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And being gentle on myself is key. But still, there's still some agreement that I need to sit with. And so I was like, even though I was like, oh, she's just like not having a good time, there was still a part of me that was like, oh, Courtney, you weirded her out with all your goddamn questions, with all your curiosities. And so I was like, I'm just going to let her be. I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, I can tell she's uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna like not engage anymore. So I did. I stopped engaging with this person. And then I just was like chatting with this person not too long ago. And she's like, I was having a really bad day at the festival, and I was like really anxious. And she's like, I know you were like trying to like get to know me, and I know you were trying to like help and da 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 da. But I just like wasn't there. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, thanks for saying that. Cause I'll be honest, there was a part of me that internalized that and made an assumption that it was me and that you were weirded out by who I was. So like, there's times that, yes, like I still can have these like little agreements with myself, but I'm like, as you know, I know that how a person is reacting, that's on them. How I react, that's on me. So not always am I 100%, and I'm like, you know, like a super fucking confident in my total essence. Sometimes there's little cracks, little bits, and then I see them and I'm like, okay, cool. So this was a nice reminder, like, and this is what we've been saying throughout the series, is that this book is a beautiful reminder. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I made an assumption that wasn't true, but because I created that assumption, like I could see kind of like little facets either way, but there was still that slight part of me that was like internalized it. So cool, another check-in with myself. Okay, where do I need to lean in for myself? Where do I need to not make an assumption? And something I've been doing too lately is like verbalizing. I'm like, I say out loud, oh, this is an assumption. This is an assumption. Telling myself, like, Courtney, you are making an assumption right now. Yeah. So I find that it softens and it lessens, because I'm like, I know that I can see the difference.
Yeah,
so there's some sharing for you.
Well, I love that. And it's like, you know, not to jump ahead for everybody, but like the last agreement, I'm not going to say it, but the last agreement just perfectly encapsulates like what you just said. And so that'll be really fun to dive into.
Yeah.
But like,
I know I'm super excited to dive into the last episode.
Cool. And I actually think we should do a bonus on the end.
I was going to tell you too that I was so cool. Yeah. Okay, bonus. Yeah. So it's actually going to be like a sixth agreement or sixth series. 6-part
series. Cause that last chapter is also really beautiful. How he like ties it all together.
Yeah. Ties it all in. Yeah.
So anyways, stay tuned for next week's, but like that is a perfect example of that last agreement where like, you know, just be gentle with ourselves. We're not perfect. We are human. Like we are. And I can say that like something that I've been working through. So I'm going to speak for more the relationship dynamic of assumption making. Like, so I'm in a marriage, like I'm in a relationship, and, man, when I assume that like he should know that I would like him to do the dishes, or he should know that I would like him to pick up something in the yard that's been out for like weeks, or like when I assume that he should know that like I want these things done, like that is like, and then when he doesn't, because I haven't told him, and there's other things going on in people's minds than what I'm thinking and what I want done. So it's like when I haven't told him and I haven't communicated clearly, like then I assume that like he should know what I need and what I want and how to, you know, that leads to big trouble, because then it can be like angry at him or like resentful. And so anybody that's listening that's in that type of dynamic in their marriage where you think they should know, you know, how to treat you, even like the fact that you might have roses from time to time, or like that something means a lot to you for them to do, like you have to communicate those things. So I'm really learning that lately, is like when I need help, ask for help. Don't assume you're going to know you need help and that you're drowning in, you know, whatever. And so that's a big one for me lately. Like I definitely fell super short in like the assumptions towards my partner, as like they should know exactly what I need, exactly what needs to be done in the day, exactly how this is supposed to go. So yeah, it comes down to communication. And then, you know, also like the bottom line to it all, it comes down to being aware of your thoughts again. It comes down to,
the stories, the loops,
the stories, identifying what you even need and want in life, like identifying that you are making an assumption about something, like being that present with your thoughts,
Yeah.
that you can
Yeah.
see that, like, oh, okay, I'm assuming, I'm
Yeah.
getting caught in the assume hamster wheel. Let me get off it and decide to do something different and think something different. Like that's huge. I mean, and I think this whole book has just been this huge, call to just be more present with yourself, be more
Yeah.
present,
More aware.
more aware. Yeah, it's just like a huge awareness. And then with the awareness, because like once you become aware, you might think, oh God, like I am assuming, totally taking things personal, and I'm
Yeah.
totally like, not being impeccable with myself on the inside.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really cool to have these agreements, to be like, okay, but all I have to do is agree
It's,
to these agreements.
yeah. Right. And
And
it's like work through, shift.
Mhm.
Um, Oh, there was something I was going to say with that. Fuck. What was that? Sorry.
the triple F for y'all.
Ah,
You just got bummed.
yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, no, it is. It really is. It's a great reminder. It's you are human. It's you like seeing yourself for where it's a self-reflection. The self-reflection. It's really just a nice bit to be like, oh, okay, self-reflection. This is how I'm showing up, which is also creating my outside forces, X, Y, and Z. Okay, maybe let's step in. Let's start holding space for this part that is assuming X, Y, and Z. What am I not clarifying? And also, like, going back to you talking about, him not, Jonah not knowing things that you want to do and stuff, blah, 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 how to communicate those things effectively. It's like, when you think about conflict, it's never about the dishes, like it's always something layered. So it's like, if there is these arguments that are like really irritability is coming through and really like big explosions, there's something deeper there. So kind of sit in and maybe you're not communicating effectively. Maybe there is some clarity. Ask questions. It's never stupid to not ask a question. And so it really is a nice little self-reflection and tapping back into you saying, creating these agreements, see where your agreements are, use this all as a signpost, see where you're showing up in life, and create new agreements that don't fit this life that you want or you're living. Create the new agreements and sit with them. Integrate them. Integration. I feel like me and you have been. This is a great book because we're just really I pulled a card this week and I've left it out all week, and it's integration, and it's just like to continually come back and just be like, oh, okay, cool. Here, I'm going to continue integrating this into my new life. Oh, I fucked up. I made an assumption. Okay, guess what? I don't even want to say fucked up. I don't like that. I don't like saying that. I find that's a little, I find that's harsh. I find that's harsh.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, did I fall short today? And I'm just going to get back up and try again tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to say, hey, sorry. I fell a little short here. I made an assumption about this scenario. How can we move forward? Just, it's really beautiful self-reflection.
Well, yeah, and for everybody that listened to the previous episode about not taking things personally and casting judgments, I did that. I went to my husband Jonah and I said to him, so if you all want to hear like the backstory, you can listen to the previous episode about that agreement. But just as a little touch up on that, like I did go to him and I apologized for making that judgment, and it was good. It was good. He was really appreciative. He was really appreciative that I did reflect and that I did, go back to him and like, and it means a lot to people when you do that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It does.
It means you care, and you didn't just like cast that dagger and walk away and just never look back. Like it means you actually care to go back and like take it out and then like, patch the wound up and like heal it.
Yeah.
So
that's how the love is in the repair.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one little thing I had to say about the the questions, like asking questions, one little like way to look at it, and maybe you guys can relate, maybe you can't, but like if you're at a job and you're not sure of how to perform that job, you're going to ask a question about it most likely. You're not just going to keep doing it the wrong way or like not have any idea about how to do it. So like think of it that way. Like anything in life that you're just unsure of, it's kind of like a job that you're just learning, and you're learning about something. Like also going at life with this attitude that you don't know anything, you know, is also sometimes a good place to operate from. Like, I really don't know anything. So like, yeah, tell me, like, teach me.
Yeah, teach me lessons. Yeah. Life is all about these lessons.
Yeah. So just like, maybe that helps with the perspective of asking questions. Like, you know, look at it like a job that you've never done before, and you just need to know more about it, and you need to get clearer about it. And maybe that won't feel so foreign, or so difficult, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel that.
Because that's really what it's all about. Like that's seriously what it's all about. Like it's like I said, it's a short and sweet little agreement. Like it's super to the point, and it's like
that's what he said. He goes, it is so simple, but I can understand how it's hard.
Yes.
So, you know, like these agreements, they are short, they are sweet, they are, I mean, the book literally is an audible for like 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. Yeah. So it's like, it's an easy read, but it's so like impactful. It's so profound. It's so simplistic. Keep it simple, stupid. Dwight Schrute gets them every time.
Yeah.
For my Office fans out there. But anyways, it's like keeping it simple. It really is. But knowing to just get back up, and it's a learning process. It's getting into your subconscious. So that's where he's like, write these notes around and put them in places that you're going to see them, because guess what? You're going to make an assumption. Guess what? You're going to take something personal. Guess what? You're going to not be impeccable with your words sometimes. So it's like, okay, here's my signpost. Here's my agreement. Here's my lesson. Let's try again. We are human. And that's it. That's, you know, really.
Yeah. And he said in the opening of this chapter that I just want to point out, he said the whole world of control between humans is in the first two agreements, which I feel like he prefaced that with like, this is a very impactful like statement, but like the whole way that we control each other as humans is in the first two agreements. So, is in the first two agreements. Yeah, that's what he said. So like not being impeccable with our word, lying to one another, lying to ourselves, and then taking things personally. And then I would say even like, then you add assumptions into it, and it's like even more of a fuckery.
Well, they all tie in. It keeps like, if you're not doing those things, if you're not being impeccable, if you are taking things personal, then it's going to lead to stories. It's going to lead to assumptions. They all flow into it. And so it's really nice little indicators and signposts. I like your little analogy of those signposts. And it's just like, okay, cool. Checking in with myself, seeing myself for where I'm at. Okay, let's reel it back. Let's work through these things. Let's communicate. Let's have clarity. Let's try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Short and sweet, guys.
I know. I was gonna say, is that really it?
Yeah, I think so. I do. We started early, and Bethany's got to get to work too. So this was an early one. So hey, like short and sweet, to the point. And that's what it's all about. It's short and sweet, to the point, very simplistic, so that we can understand and just see yourselves for wherever it is you're at, holding space.
Yeah. And if y'all want to share anything, any insights, any stories on your journey with this 4 agreements, your integration, please share in the comments on YouTube. You can send us a personal message on Instagram, or you can comment on Instagram if you want to, anywhere on any of the posts. So we appreciate you all for being here and for listening, and we hope that you're enjoying it. And we obviously love this book, and I'm like loving going back into it and reliving it, and just really like being in a new phase of life. So new clarity. It's like a new back to the awareness. It's it's literally just keeping you
aware of yourself and your outer realm.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
So until next time, please
Bye, guys.
like,
Subscribe.
rate, subscribe,
All the good things. Share it.
share it with whoever you think might enjoy it. Yeah. Anyways, love y'all. See you
Bye.
next time. Bye.